Hi everybody, thanks for coming. I plan to speak mostly about what we're doing, but I have to say a few things before that. I think that I look at you guys and you clearly understand logically what happened in Israel, but I don't really understand emotionally what happened. We're a small nation, and the magnitude of what happened for a small nation is just unprecedented. I personally attended the last few weeks 4 funerals, 2 of which of kids I knew from the age 0, of good friends of mine. I had 7 more funerals of people that work in my companies, in my different companies. And I personally know 2 kids that are hostages in Gaza. And that's just one person. You need to understand that in US magnitude, this is as if 9/11 was 45,000 people. That's the equivalent. 45,000 people. And when you think about how many people are displaced, that's in the tens of millions in US terms. That's how you understand the scale of all of it. And even when you think about the scale of the attack, 9/11 was done by around 50 terrorists altogether, maybe a few tens more to help plan it. Here we had thousands, I repeat the number, thousands of bloodthirsty terrorists that crossed the border with a clear intention to hurt civilians, with a clear intention to go to a music festival. I used to attend these, still do it occasionally, festivals of love, where nobody wants anything other than to hug and dance, and massacre, butcher hundreds of people, hundreds, not 1 or 2. We're talking about ethnic cleansing, house to house, okay, of women, children, and not mentioning the other horrors that we're aware of. So this touched everybody, it's touching everybody in the country. And you need to understand that this is not another round of local violence as we've had in the past. This is something completely different. I've spoken to Secretary Blinken, I've spoken to the Prime Minister of the UK, I've spoken to many others, and I'm trying to explain to everybody, this is not about domestic violence. This is a fight against the way of living in each one of your countries. This is a fight against being liberal. This is a fight against free speech. This is a fight against women's rights. This is a fight against everything that the West stands for. And we happen to be the victims because we live in our next time. But this can happen in any other country. This will not stop here. If we will not stop it, this will continue to other countries as well. And so I just had to say that because I know how hard it is to feel what happened, how hard it is to just take the news and understand them, but this is much bigger than another round of violence around the border. And you must understand that. I'm personally I'm a tech, I used to be a pilot in the Israeli Air Force. I was a tech entrepreneur, founded 6 companies. I then became an investor, invested in hundreds of companies in Israel and abroad, but mostly in Israel. I have the largest venture capital fund for early stage investing in the world. I have many NGOs, mostly around education. In the last 10 months, I've dealt predominantly with the fight for Israel's democracy. We're not involved in politics anymore, but that was a big fight here for 10 months. And in the morning of the 7th of October, we understood that the world changed forever. And when we understood that, we spoke, a bunch of the leaders of what was called the protest movement. We looked at all the infrastructure that we've created, hundreds of thousands of volunteers, high moral value people that are super committed, that really always want to do good. We looked at the logistics that we've created and everything we have, and we said, this is the time that we need to take all of that and try to help our nation as much as we can. And this is really the Israeli spirit. You need to understand that this is, when the going, they say when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. That's really about Israel. Okay, and we don't bow our head. We cry, we weep, we're sad, but we fight back. And when all of that started, many of us went to reserve. I'm too old to fly anymore in the Air Force. But those that didn't, we grouped together and we decided that we're not going to leave our home base behind. From the first day, we've had hundreds of people in the field, under fire in some cases, helping civilians that need it. And that grew from that point on Saturday to an organization that now has more than 15,000 volunteers a day, deploying tens of millions to various activities that I'll mention in a second, all under in the effort of making things better quickly. We set out with two goals. The first goal was to help the soldiers. You need to understand this is a black swan event. Many people say, how can it be that the government was not ready? Well, I'm not a big fan of this government. You're not going to hear that from me. But this is an event that the government, not the surprise that happened, that's horrible. But after it happened, it's hard for any government. And we can move much faster. So our first goal was that we're going to help our soldiers as much as we can. And our second goal was that we're going to try and make sure that every person that was affected, the first circle, second circle, and even third circle, are going to pass this, are going to go through this with as little suffering as possible and as much human dignity as possible. After a week and a half, we also decided as an organization that we're going to also be part of the rebuilding of the country, which is a different conversation. How do we work? We have a few principles. The first one is that being that we are civilians, we can move much faster. As we move much faster, we're basically moving before the government, and wherever we see a problem, we'll go and we start solving it immediately. When the government arrives, we partner with the government, we don't replace it, and we try to help as much as we can. We're working on scale, tens of thousands of people, tens of millions of dollars, and lots of activities that I'll mention in a second. But, and that's very important, that's also part of the Jewish and Israeli spirit, we would always prioritize not just impact, but impact together with human touch. We think that our country needs healing. We think that the healing would come from human touch, which means that whenever we deliver a package of diapers to a family in need, it would not come alone. It would come with somebody that would give a hug. It would come with somebody that would ask, how are you doing? Do you need anything else? This has been our principles for the last 4 weeks. To give you a bit of numbers, we're now at, as I said, more than 15,000 volunteers a day. We've fed more than 200,000 people over these few weeks. We've delivered hundreds of tons of equipment of various sorts. We've flown in more than 15 private cargo flights with goods that were required. And we're basically impacting every part of civil society that requires help. In terms of the operation, just to be practical, we basically have areas, so there's now 10 areas in the country where we have dislocated families. And then we have services. The services that we have is everything from helping people with finding where to sleep, through feeding people, so accommodation, food, basic needs, so hygiene, toiletries, baby equipment, and food. That's the third thing, tens of thousands of dollars a day worth of goods. We have a special request desk in every location. People that their hearing aid is not working now. It will take the country now, the government, a month to solve it. We go, we buy it, we bring it immediately. And every other special request. We then have 3 vertical ones, or 4 vertical ones. One of them is helping people exercise their rights, understanding what they can get from the government, what they can get from philanthropy, because many people just don't know how to find it. The next thing is education, where we work with the municipalities to actually enable running the schools and running the kindergartens in these horrible situations. And then something called PTSD support or psychological support. Israel's going to have, even in the most conservative assumptions, more than 12,000 new acute PTSD patients. 12,000 new acute PTSD patients. There's no other country in the world that had a single event that caused that. That requires lots of new therapists, that require lots of new infrastructure, and we're putting a lot of money and a lot of effort to helping the country and helping the people actually get the therapy. Last thing we're doing is that we're helping businesses. Everything from running the agriculture right now, we have around 1,000 volunteers a day that are actually working the land back in the villages where the people that live there cannot do it right now. All the way through helping the factories that are there continue running with volunteers, giving grants to small businesses that cannot stay alive right now with the current situation, giving special loans and so on. And so basically many services across 10 locations, and we're trying to basically make sure, as I said, that everybody can go through this horrible period with the most human dignity and the least suffering. Make no mistake, I think that it is important that you understand that you come out of here with a clear understanding that Israel will prevail. That's not a question. We're a strong nation, and when we get hit, we don't turn the other cheek. We will build our country again. We will, regain everything that was taken from us. That's not a question. However, these are challenging times, and I think what you're seeing today is the peak of the Israeli spirit. The peak of the Israeli spirit is the ability of people to leave everything, put everything behind, open their hearts, their wallets, spend their time and their money, and make sure that Israel's solidarity and the Israeli spirit ensures that we will come out of it strong. We will come out of it a unified nation. We will come out of it with the solidarity that we all need. We will come out of it to an Israel 3.0, one that is going to be a better nation and a better country. I want to thank you for coming and listening. I want to thank you for hearing our stories. I want to make sure that you understand that on one hand, we're telling you how challenging it is, but on the other hand, we're also telling you that we're strong. What we need is your support. We need your support because at the end of the day, people don't get it. Many people around the world just don't get what's happening here. And if you on the ground are not going to be telling that story, then they will not get it from anybody else. And so thank you for coming. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to take them. Thank you.
Thank you.